Hi, thanks for tuning in. Stuart here, the unrepentant atheist. This is my weekly roundup video. I'm going to be doing one of these every Friday, hopefully, if I can have the discipline to do it. And I've got things to talk about, which I normally have. So, first of all, as some of you probably can see, I'm in a different environment um, where I'm recording this at the moment. I'm a guest in this house and I'm on my own, so I'm taking advantage of that. I'm making this video, and it's really nice to not have any lighting problems for this video, which is probably the reason for that is that I'm very close to a back wall and I've got a large patio door facing me with plenty of light coming through, and it's so nice to see the light is consistent and it's not jumping around everywhere like it normally is, so that's great. Having said that, most of my videos will in fact be recorded in my flat where I live and not here. So yeah, moving on. I made a video a few days ago showing a footballer scoring a goal, and when the footballer scored, he looked up at the sky and he did this, and I took this to mean that he was most probably saying thank you to God, saying a little kind of uh, a high five to God or whatever. And then a minute later, he missed a chance and he just shrugged his shoulders and walked off. And I thought this was an example of counting the hits and ignoring the misses. Now, I'm not certain that he was actually saying thank you to God. He might have been saying, you know, Uncle John, this one's for you. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe. But there are, in fact, sportsmen and sportswomen who are religious, and when something good happens for them in their sport, they will thank God. We know this. I know it because I've read about it. So, okay, this particular player might not have, it's possible that he wasn't saying thank you to God, but just as an illustration of this point of counting the hits and ignoring the misses, supposing that he was actually saying thank you to God. We see it with Christians and Muslims who say that they see God's work. They see God's works all the time, meaning the good things. When people get remission from cancer, and if there's a car accident that nobody should have survived, somebody is pulled out of the wreckage. You know, God is given the credit for this, and yet all the tens of millions of people that die of cancer, car accidents, and everything, God gets a free pass. So I thought that was worth doing a video on, and I admit I was watching the highlights of this game and I saw that, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to do it. But yeah, I agree. He might have been saying there might have been another reason why he was looking up at the sky after he scored a goal. There might have been another reason, but it's irrelevant. The point of the video is that a lot of religious people count the hits and they ignore the misses. So somebody that left a comment on my channel about this particular video said that he found it strange that anybody thinks God cares about a football game. Well, why? Why do you find it strange? How do you know what God cares about? It may well be that in that football game, there's a player who was down on his luck and he wasn't scoring any goals and he was going to commit suicide, and that he prayed and then he scored. So in that sense, you could say that it's not surprising at all that God, if there is such a God and a Christian God that you can pray to, and somebody was going to commit suicide, then it's possible that God did give this player a helping hand and help the ball to go into the net. And even if not, often we hear from Christians, you can't possibly know God's rationale for when he intervenes and when he doesn't. And on that basis, why not? Even if there is nothing more at stake than simply who's going to win the game. It may well be that God supports that team. You don't know. That particular person who left a comment then went on to say that in his life, the reason that he believes is because God has helped to turn his life around. Because of the way that God has worked in his life, he was doing badly, then he became a believer, things improved for him, and he's turned his life around. As I asked, why do you believe? That was his reason. And he also mentioned that he's personally seen God. Well, I found that interesting. That God turned his life around, I didn't find interesting at all, because we hear this from not only believers, we hear it from atheists who are coming out of religion, and they say, when I got out of religion, it turned my life around. And we hear atheists who convert to Christianity, when I became a Christian, it turned my life around. So we have two positions there, and they cancel each other out. You can't that your life turned around neither proves nor disproves the existence of God. There may be other factors involved. It could well be like Dumbo's lucky feather, just simply a placebo. Either way, either that you got out of religion, you turn your life around, or you got into religion and you turned your life around. We also see people getting into religion and their lives go down the drain, particularly if they donate all their money to the religion. And we see people who come out of religion, they lose their community, they go to atheism, and their lives go down the drain. So what that tells me is that all that kind of anecdotal evidence about good fortune and bad fortune is not significant when you are trying to answer the question about whether there's a God or not. It's irrelevant. No, but I'm interested in, if somebody says they've seen God, I'd like to know about their personal experience. And I asked this person, tell me about your experience. What did God look like? Did God talk, etc., etc.? And all I got was crickets. Absolutely nothing. No answer whatsoever. Just, oh, God turned my life around. Oh, and by the way, atheist, you believe in no God. You're saying there is no God. That's a faith-based position too. And I said, actually, no. I'm not saying there is no God. I simply don't have a belief in a God in the same way that I don't have a belief that the Loch Ness Monster exists. And it's no more of a faith-based position to say that you don't believe in God than it is to say that you don't believe in the Loch Ness Monster. That's not a faith-based position, and neither is lack of belief in a God. If I was asserting that there absolutely is no God, that would take faith. I still think it would take a lot less faith than affirming that there is a God, because when you're affirming that there is a God, you are actually you are affirming that there is something in existence, despite the fact that there doesn't really seem to be any evidence. At least if there's no evidence, you can point to the fact that there is no evidence. Say, well, there is no evidence for the existence of this God, so I'm going to say that there isn't one. Yes, that's a faith-based position, but I think it still takes more faith to say that there is a God. But no, I don't say there is no God. My position is not faith-based. I'm not as stupid as you are. So don't try to pull that fallacy on me. It's a coping mechanism. I know that it is, but it's a very bad one and a fallacious one. So let's move on. Yeah. So Matt has been he's been talking about security. Somebody asked him in a super chat about security. Isn't he worried that some Muslim fanatic is going to come out and kill him because he drew a picture of Muhammad? Matt, to be fair to him, said yes, he is worried, and who wouldn't be worried? Because we know that it happens. We saw Salman Rushdie got his throat cut, and I think that he lost sight in one eye. So we know that there are people out there capable of doing this, and Matt has made a point of insulting Islam. And I guess that he would be a target for some fanatic. There may well be some fanatic who out there who has plans, and I sincerely hope that that is not the case. So Matt said, yes, he is worried. He does not have security in the same way that Sam Harris has security. And I take my hat off to him that he's prepared to stick his neck out and do that, because I personally would not now draw a picture of Muhammad. And you know why? Because I'm afraid that somebody will track me down, some Muslim fanatic. I'm afraid that somebody will track me down and kill me because I drew a picture of Muhammad. Yeah, I'm a coward. I'm a coward. I don't want to be killed for drawing a picture of Muhammad. You can say what you want about me, but when it comes to my own personal safety, I'm the biggest coward there is. Okay, so let's move on. Humor, yes. So I made a video. I probably shouldn't have made it. I don't know. I thought it was fun. Somebody called into the line, and we always get this thing where they say, hello, can you hear me? Yes, we hear you. Hello, are you there? We're here. Can you talk, please? Oh, hello. I didn't think you could hear me. There's a bit of a delay. I want to phone in and talk about my religion and why I believe that my religion is true. Silence. Hello, are you there? Yes, we're here. Hello, hello. Oh my God. I thought this was really funny. I thought it was funny. Somebody accused me. I mean, even Matt said, oh my God, this is like a comedy show. And it was like, I don't know, Abbott and Costello, who's on first base or something like that. I thought it was really funny. Yeah, so somebody accused me of having too easy a sense of humor. I'm too easily pleased with humor. No, I'm not actually. one of the reasons I do this is because it's one of the few things that I really get to have a good laugh about. It really lightens my spirits when I hear all this Christian bullshit and something can't come from nothing. I keep finding that funny. I probably shouldn't, but it's like adults believing in Santa Claus. And yeah, I do find it funny, and it's one of the reasons I do this. But stand-up comedy, films, none of the sort of films in the last 20 years, say, I haven't really seen any that are supposed to be comedies that have made me laugh. Stand-up comics, I've hardly heard any stand-up comics that have made me laugh in the last 20 years. Billy Connolly's probably an exception. I like the routine that he did with suicide bombing. Suicide bombing. Now there's a bright idea. How's the training going to go for that? Right, lads, gather round. I'm just going to show you this the once. Oh yeah, I found that funny. I thought that was really funny. Yeah, so Billy Connolly is probably an exception. But I don't really find much humor which is out there. I don't find it funny, but I do find religion funny. I find it hilarious. So no, I haven't got an easy sense of humor at all. And then finally, what am I going to talk about? I'm on 12 minutes. Try and get this within 15 minutes. Yeah, so my personal circumstances are such that I have attended Christian ceremonies. This is embarrassing to admit. I've attended Christian ceremonies over December, and I've been going in as a sort of covert atheist. And I mean, nobody asks you in these places what your beliefs are. Nobody really talks about that. So I've been just going in and observing, and I found it interesting. And I must admit, it is really bizarre. It's almost to me like standing with a group of pagans on the summer solstice at Stonehenge. I mean, it's as wacky as that with the Druids. It really is when you're sitting in the pews, and you've got the minister is there with his tassels and all the garb and the cross. And I mean, I haven't been in a church for quite a while, 10 years probably. And in those days, last time I was in church 10, 12 years ago, I wasn't sort of the atheist that I am now. I wasn't the online atheist. I wasn't really much interested in counter-apologetics or anything, but it seemed really bizarre to be sitting there and singing hymns, reciting lyrics of hymns, which I knew could have absolutely no basis in reality. There was no rational reason to believe any of the claims in any of these hymns. They don't recite the Nicene Creed in this particular church, which I was kind of glad about because I wouldn't really be able to recite that. They do say the Lord's Prayer, of course. Yeah, so the ceremony goes on for about an hour. And there's a lot about how Jesus is the Savior. There's nothing at all about what's going to happen to you and other people who are not saved by Jesus. There's nothing at all about that. There's nothing really at all about the fact that Jesus is the Savior because of rules that God created and the loophole. There's really very little on the actual nitty-gritty doctrine. So it's all kept fairly vague, and it just looks like Jesus is this nice guy that's going around saving everybody and answering your prayers. I don't really think that a lot of those people standing in the pews really understand what Christianity actually is. There's no question of interrogating your own faith. There's no question about the epistemology behind the religion. All there is an imperative. As the minister said in the last sermon I listened to, forget about the secular mockers, forget about what the rest of the world is saying, just believe. There's just this imperative almost to blind faith. Yeah, so there was another church I went to, mainly because there was a choral concert on, but there was actually a sermon as well. It's more of an evangelical kind of church. I found that sermon a little bit more kind of interesting because it went into the why Christianity would be so important if it's true. So C.S. Lewis was quoted as saying that if Christianity is true, it's everything, and if it's not true, it's nothing. And the minister said, yes, if Christianity is not true, then all this, and I like the gesture that he made, the congregation, the hymns and everything, all the prayer, all this is one big waste of time if it's not true. Well, I would take issue with him on that, because we know that placebos, Dumbo's lucky feather, can still be useful even though there's no actual magic going on. There's nothing to it, and it's unproven. So Christianity could still be useful even if it's untrue. I would take issue with him there. But what he didn't answer is, he didn't give a good answer to the question of why do you think it's true? He didn't answer that. He just asserted that Jesus is the Savior, and the Bible is the holy text, and we should believe. There's no sort of foundation, no kind of rational foundation for why they should believe. I almost thought of finding his email address, because I don't want to reveal who I am. I almost thought of finding his email address and asking him some of these questions incognito, but I've been unable to trace him, which is a pity. So that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. And if you've got any comments to make, I'll be glad to listen to them. And apart from that, I look forward to uploading more videos. I've made some recordings yesterday on Friday. So I'll be uploading 3 videos within the next 2 or 3 days. Hope you'll enjoy them. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.